Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Timirandasya Jnana Shalakya Chakuru Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Jai Pataka Swami Niti Namne Namah Jai Padaya Nitai Pudapradayani Gaur Katha Dham Dhai Nagar Gram Tarne Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namne Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharne Nirvisesh Shunyavadi Pascha Pradeshtarne Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome to our Bhagavad Gita class. Very happy to see all of you. And okay, today yesterday we did till verse 59, right? And no, we did 60. No, till 63 we did. Okay, now we're going to do 64. Raga Dvesha, I mean, we saw what happens to a person who cannot control his senses, then how he falls down into delusion. We saw that because he described what is the consciousness of a Sthitabdi Muni, or someone who is self, controlled and so on. And then he talks about how if you don't control your senses, what happens. Now, he's going to tell us Ragadvesha Vimuktestu Vishayan Indriyaischaran Atmavashyar Vineyatma Prasadam Adhigachati. But a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. So he said the same. This is Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Mataji, make me co-host.
Yeah, okay. So, a person free from all attachment and aversion, able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom, can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. So, and here Prabhupada is saying the Krishna conscious person is concerned only with the satisfaction of Krishna and nothing else. Therefore, he is transcendental to all attachment and detachment. If Krishna wants, the devotee can do anything which is ordinarily undesirable. And if Krishna does not want, he shall not do that which he would have ordinarily done for his own satisfaction. Therefore, to act or not to act is within his control, because he acts only under the direction of Krishna. This consciousness is the costless mercy of the Lord, which the devotee can achieve in spite of his being attached to the sensual platform. So, what is preventing us from, following this? No, we finished this. Preeti, can you go to the next slide? We did up to 63 yesterday. So we're starting from 64. So what is preventing us? Preeti?
Krishna Mataji, I need to change the slide.
Okay.
The earlier one.
Yeah, no, later one.
Oh.
Okay. So, when what happens? Why are we not able to follow this instructions of Krishna because we have the mind. There are two aspects of the mind. One is the subconscious and the conscious mind. We're aware of everything consciously, of the present moment, whatever is happening, and we are, we are aware of that. And then deep down, even without our knowledge, we have a lot of attachments to the subconscious, which we have got through so many lifetimes. And these are the things that are holding us back from surrendering fully to Krishna. We're very attached to this. So if Krishna says something contrary to what we are attached to, then we get very disturbed. But he is saying a person has to be free from all attachment and aversion. Both are different parts of the same coin. And able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain the complete mercy of the Lord. So what does that mean? That you are there with people, but you reciprocate, you are loving to them. Only thing is the negative things don't arise, because when you get emotionally attached, in the sense for yourself of, this is the way I want people to be with me, or this is the way they should talk to me, or I want such things, such qualities, or in the people who are close to me. I mean, it's not only in relationships or in situations, so many things. Because of that, we are not we become, either we hate certain things and we like certain things too much. And on that platform, we cannot surrender to Krishna. This surrender means having full faith in Krishna. Okay, maybe I don't like this, but I'll do it because Krishna wants me to do. Then that is when you get the complete mercy of the Lord. So we're trying for that. It's not easy because we're attached, right? Through different lifetimes. Our mind is horribly attached to different concepts. And actually, it is not the fault of other people, whether we suffer or we enjoy. It's our own mind which is demanding certain things. And if it doesn't happen according to that, then we get upset and we blame the other people. So this is where we become also more tolerant, because my happiness and sorrow is within my hands. I cannot blame other people. Why you're like this? Because of that, I'm unhappy. No.
Mataji,
Yes.
you said attachment. Normally, you said sometimes when Krishna gives contrary to our attachment,
Mm-hmm.
then we get upset. This,
Yes.
I think, happens with everyone. Well,
Yes.
so
Certainly.
uh, is it to make us more purify? He gives contrary to uh, attachment, or is it means
Yes,
what
for
is
different
his?
people. Yes, for devotees, it's like that. For one who is already understood that they have to make spiritual advancement, then Krishna helps. He purifies us so that we can, we'll be able to surrender to Krishna's instructions. But for one who is not interested in spiritual life, it's according to his karma. He has done some good things, then he'll get enjoyment. So Maya takes care of that. For a devotee, especially one who is wanting to, rise up in spiritual consciousness, then Krishna helps. I mean, whatever little bit pain, I mean, it's according to karma. I mean, whatever karma we have to endure, then, or sometimes it need not be karma also. Krishna is helping us so that gradually we'll depend on him only for everything. The happiness should come from there. Then we will understand it's very unreasonable to put the blame on others for our happiness. Maybe they disturb us, no doubt. The world is full of a lot of negative people who try to dump their anger on us, or envy on us, or hatred. So many things are there. But it is in my control whether I'm affected by it, or whether I become happy, I become unnecessarily unhappy by that. That's in my, I mean, that's in my hands. And that is what we should strive for through spiritual means. Otherwise, people become depressed and then they blame the world, they blame the people around them, or whoever did whatever. Why should we let ourselves be pulled down by other people's thing when it is in fully in my control not to be affected? That's what Krishna is saying. And then you'll get the complete mercy of Krishna. Then only positive things. Very nice, because you are in touch with Krishna and you know that your happiness is only coming from Krishna. And all these other things are simply due to our own illusory attachments. It is not that we should not love people. We should love. We should love people. But it is a love which is not affected, which is no expectations. That love will satisfy us. That's in the mode of goodness. The minute you have expectations from people, then you will be prepared for some misery. So that is, it's easier said than done. And that is why we have the Hare Krishna mantra. If you chant, you'll see that, the pain becomes less and less. We may have gone through so many emotional because of our emotional attachments, we go through different suffering. But that suffering also, you'll be amazed that once you start chanting, it becomes less and less. Physical pain even. Because the mind is overly attached thinking about that is suffering. The minute you don't think about it and you have some other preoccupation, then you won't even think about it. That is the thing. And that too, that preoccupation, if it is Krishna, normally even material things, some people say, okay, don't stay all the time thinking about it. Come out, I'll take you on a vacation, I'll take you here, out there. And then when you you get some happiness about meeting other things, some happiness about going out and meeting people, then you forget about that pain a bit. But that's not a permanent solution. But anyway, we know that by diverting our attention, we can overcome pain. In the same way, here we divert the attention to our whatever pain we are suffering. Instead, we think about our eternal relationship. And we understand that these sort of things, we don't have to succumb to that. This is because of my wrong identification, first of all. So if we are at least theoretically convinced about it, then we'll take shelter of the holy names. Whenever you're disturbed, don't go into a depression mode or morose or, or become, what do you call, disappointed or those things. No. I mean, because it's a waste of time and we are hurting ourselves. And so, because we love ourselves very much, we should immediately start chanting and overcome that hurt and pain. And you'll think, oh, actually, I'm not
Swati
even...
Mataji is speaking something, I think.
What?
Swati Mataji is speaking something.
Oh,
No,
yes.
no, no.
You want to say something?
No, no, no. I'm just listening to you and it's very nice.
Okay. Is that okay, Srivita? We'll go to the next verse.
Okay, Mataji.
For one who thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So that's very reassuring, isn't it? That we can become happy. The threefold miseries. What are the threefold miseries? There is Adhyatmik, Adibhautik, Adidaivik. Three types of miseries. One is Adibhautik is what is from other living entities. Okay, all around us, not just human beings, in the mosquitoes, flies, cockroach, everything. Whatever is other living entities are giving us trouble. Then Adhyatmik is our own body, bad health or mind that's giving us problems. Then Adi Daivik is given by the Devatas. And what is that? Too much rain or drought or earthquake, all these things are Adi Daivik. So all these three things, too much flood, or too much droughts and all that, people are always suffering because of natural calamities. So the threefold miseries of material existence exist no longer when you come to the this thing of a platform of satisfied in Krishna consciousness. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established because Krishna is all intelligent. And when we are not disturbed by all these external things, then we can see things in the proper perspective and not be affected by it. This is the consciousness. I mean, once we get this, we'll be extremely happy because no more anxieties. Even if you have everything, people are anxious because what will happen tomorrow? How will I know? What will be? How will my health be? Will I have enough money, or will people be nice to me? Always, we don't know about tomorrow. Uncertainties. But if we are connected with Krishna and we are getting happiness through that, we know that Krishna is my best friend, and whatever happens, he'll take care of me. He'll protect me. So no more anxieties. So this is why we should come to this, aspire for this consciousness. One who's not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can he have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there's no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Because the mind is always disturbed by so many things. And so that's why we don't feel happiness. But if you're connected with Krishna, then you can have transcendental intelligence and a steady mind. And then you'll have peace. So, this is 66. So that's why Prabhupada says, unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there's no possibility of peace. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor, and friend of everyone and everything. When we know that, then one can, with a steady mind, bring about peace. Therefore, one who's engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace. However much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life, Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested, peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. So it's not an imagination. It is just like when a baby, it may be crying so much. Everyone else is trying to comfort it. But then you just put the baby in the mother's lap, immediately stops crying. Factual understanding, this is my mother, and okay, now I can relax. Nobody loves me as much as my mother. So the child is satisfied. So in the same way, we may try so many different methods, but finally, but none of that satisfied. Then when you get in touch with Krishna, and he makes it so easy. This age is very good for communications and relationships, because even materially, we got the mobile and the WhatsApp. We're constantly communicating whichever part of the world anybody may be there, where we can stay in touch. So that is there. And similarly, Krishna has also made it very easy for us to communicate with him. You just have to chant Hare Krishna, immediately you're in touch with him. It's like hotline. You start chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna is immediately there. And he's aware of what you're going through. And the more you listen to the holy name, then your mind will slowly, all the anxiety and pain will get removed and you'll feel happy. So that's what Krishna is saying. How can you, one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness, can have neither a transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there's no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? And that is why my Guru Maharaj, what he said, is the oldest Devtak Swami. By the way, he's in town, and you can even, on the 19th, you can come to Palace Grounds and listen to him. Or even if there is a chance for our yatra to meet separately with him, I'll tell you all and you can come there and meet him. So he says that, there are, suppose you have, especially, in married people, husband and wife, they're fighting. It could be anybody. If you have a quarrel, then normally for husband and wife, it says, husband, take the beads and go for a walk and chant. And wife, sit at home in front of the deities or something and chant. You chant Hare Krishna, then you'll feel peaceful. And then you'll think, why did I quarrel? There's nothing to quarrel about. And then you can peacefully discuss whatever you have to, whatever the this thing is. So, I mean, discord or whatever the misunderstanding was, you can talk about it in a more peaceful way. So, Indriyanam, as a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, even one of the roaming senses on which the mind focuses can carry away man's intelligence. So we may think that everything else I controlled, only one thing. No, it doesn't matter. If you think like that, no, even one thing also can carry away our intelligence. As mentioned in the life of Maharaja Ambarisha, all of the senses must be engaged in Krishna consciousness, but that is the correct technique for controlling the mind, because the senses and mind very powerful. If they think that, okay, I'm a Brahmana, I'm doing so many things, right? Say, suppose a priest is doing everything, but I just like a little bit of alcohol. That's no. Will you accept a Brahmana who says that a priest, I do everything nicely, I chant all the mantras, and I'm a pure vegetarian, and I am peacefully living in my house. Only little bit I have liquor, you say, oh, thanks, right? Because even just that one small weakness we know can make a person, not be concentrated. I mean, not pure, or not allow him to be connected with Krishna. So, therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. We wish that, isn't it? We don't want to be sometimes up, sometimes down. We want our intelligence to always be steady, so that we don't have to quarrel, we don't have to lose our mind, lose our control and simply fight. Sometimes we don't even intend to do that, and we shout at people and then think, oh, I feel so bad. Why did I do that? So that is why senses have to be restrained from their objects. Then we have steady intelligence. Okay. Then 69, he says, what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective stage. So Krishna is saying this because the people will immediately raise objections. What is this? Why we should do all these things? Especially nowadays, people give more value to academic knowledge. And you find that sometimes they may have a lot of weaknesses, attachments, so many things, and yet they will be doing well in their education somehow, because it's material education. And and so they feel, I don't need to follow anything, I'm quite fine, I'm studying very well, and then I've got a very good job, I'm earning so much money. So that gives them overconfidence about themselves, and they think that I don't need to follow anything, any rules. Okay, that. But such people will say, if you tell them, you have to go to bed early, get up early, and then get up during Brahma Muhurta and, pray to Krishna in the morning, you have to be a vegetarian, they just don't like it at all. So there are two types of, Prabhupada says, there are two classes of intelligent men. One is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. And the activities of the
Can't people be intelligent in both?
of course, actually, one who's spiritually intelligent can also perform his material activities very well, and he gets help from Krishna also. But initially, what happens is, but the person who's introspective, he does not honestly indulge his senses. He does whatever is required. Okay, I have to do a job, he will do it, but then he will not think about, how to just enjoy more and more with his money. Like nowadays, because people are earning a lot of money, the youth, and they want to, what are they spending it on? Things that, okay, it doesn't help them in their consciousness. And so what happens is they're becoming more and more restless, more and more intolerant, more and more getting angry and, fighting with people. You see that. people just get angry too much, a rage, they go into a fit of rage, and immediately they want to do something. Small little things also they're not tolerant about. So this is what happens. Active, on the other hand, one who's introspective, thoughtful persons, they are ready to control their senses. So that is why Krishna says, what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. So a materialist will think, what is this? You can't even sleep. What enjoyment is there if you have to get up early in the morning? And you are doing spiritual activities. I like to go and have great fun in a disco, or, I like to go to the mall and all that. What? So they think that it is distress, or that is night. That is actually day for the introspective sage. He likes it. Oh, I like to get up early, like to do spiritual activities, right? And what is the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. So a materialist may think that, it's great fun if I can enjoy and, you know, just go to the where a lot of crowded people, full of crowds, and people are just having a lot of fun, a fair or something. A materialist will think that's fantastic. I want to be there. And a sage or a thoughtful person, no, I don't want to go to such crowded places. He tries to stay away. He likes to go to, peaceful places which are very beautiful by the lake and such things. Of course, materialist people also like nature. There are this thing, but generally they prefer to go and just have fun like this. So these two are poles apart. That's what Krishna is saying. A person who's not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires, because why did he mention this? Because normally people think that you should just indulge yourself, and that sort of life is like night for the introspective sage. So you should understand that there are two types of people, and we should want to be like the sage, the thoughtful person who tries to control his senses. A person who's not disturbed by the incessant flows of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled, but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So the comparison is made between, we are saying that there are so many thoughts which are coming, right? Sometimes you feel, see, I shouldn't think like that, I shouldn't desire this. And then, but they keep coming. So Krishna is saying that in the ocean, there are so many rivers flowing into the ocean. But what happens? The ocean does not flood the banks, so it doesn't. Just because the river water is coming, the ocean doesn't flood the city. It always remains still. It never goes beyond the line of of its this thing boundary. So in the same way, thoughts may come, desires may come, but you don't have to act on every desire and be steady. Okay, just this is just my mind saying something. I'm going to ignore it. In that way, you shouldn't think that the mind is everything. You should understand that I'm not the mind, right? This mind is like a mechanism which is giving me all these thoughts, and I'm going to use my intelligence to decide whether this is good for me or not. And if it is not good, I'll just ignore the thing, ignore the things told by the mind. So, and he's comparing it just like the ocean. Desires may come like the rivers coming into it, and but a person who's not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled, but it is always still. See the ocean, that's what rivers are constantly flowing, so much turbulence, but the ocean is very calm. And in the same way, if we are like that, then only we can achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Like nowadays, Western psychologists, they also say, whatever desire you have, you should fulfill it. And they think that you will overcome it by like that, but it doesn't happen like that. Their needs and their desires are just increasing more and more and more. And with the result, they get angry if it's not fulfilled, and they become violent. All kinds of psychological problems they have because of this. How can what they say, if it's different from what Krishna is saying, definitely it won't work, right? And that's where in the place they think that anything you ask for, you should get. You want to have a gun with you? Okay, we'll give you license, keep it. And then with the result, they just keep go on a shooting spree, some crazy person, and they become crazy. If you lead a life like that of simply indulging all your desires, you'll go crazy. And so these things happen. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can retain real peace. So don't think this is like, oh, it's too much. I'm very attached and how can I become detached? No, you don't have to worry about detachment. There is a very easy way that we just start becoming attached to Krishna because he's a person. You don't have to worry, oh, I'm too attached to my family, I'm too attached to my job. You don't have to think like that. You don't have to work on pulling yourself. I'll become a sannyasi. No, that's not what, in fact, Krishna is telling Arjuna, don't become a sannyasi. Arjuna wanted to leave the battlefield and become a sannyasi. And Krishna is telling, no, you have to be there. If you go there, you'll still be thinking about the war only. So don't go. So that is not what Krishna is saying. Krishna is saying that we should do the work, but thinking about him. Like, we love him. And so we are doing. We may like the job, we may like the people around us, we can have loving relationships, but we love Krishna more than that. That's all. The first priority is what Krishna wants. Then, and anyway, all of them are part of Krishna. So all we have to do is increase our attachment to Krishna. Everything else will fall in line. Automatically, even you don't have to hate your family, you don't have to hate your job, nothing. We have to see that I satisfy Krishna. And anyway, whatever Krishna likes will be good for everybody. He's not going to say something which is impractical or something foolish. Once a hippie who had become a devotee in America, he asked Prabhupada, suddenly, because hippies were used to living on the, beaches and, or they didn't have any, I mean, they were from wealthy families in the 60s. That movement was, the hippie movement started because they were disillusioned with the materialistic life in the US because their parents were the successful people. Suddenly in America was very, very prosperous in the 60s because of industrialization and all that. And so their parents had already made a lot of money. And because of that, they were already leading a very nice life. So there was nothing to look forward to. They didn't have to struggle to do anything. So they didn't want to follow any rules of the society. They felt that there must be something higher than this. And so they gave up. They wanted to do everything opposite of social norms. So they dropped out of society and they were everything opposite of what society tells. They wanted to do an experiment. They thought that must be spiritual. So, so this hippie to ask Prabhupada, does surrender to Krishna mean that if I surrender to Krishna, if he says you should live in the beach, then I should live in the beach? Is that surrender? And Prabhupada said, what nonsense you're talking. Why Krishna would want you to live on the beach? Once you become a devotee, Krishna is personally taking care and he wants the devotees to live comfortably and then make spiritual progress. So we shouldn't think that, oh, if I go close to Krishna or start doing, he'll ask me to do unreasonable things, which are very, very difficult. It's not like that. It is just that we should understand. I mean, we should become attached to Krishna. Then we'll understand he's a very loving, and through the Shastra we understand, through the Guru we can understand what is the
Master,
personality of
even
Krishna.
I have this fear. Sometimes I think if I get attached to Krishna, he will take away the thing I am attached most. So that I have also have this fear because I feel he takes away the thing away to which thing or with dream anything which I'm too much attached. So I
Yeah, yes. So you don't worry about that. You don't worry about detachment, but you worry about attachment to Krishna. then automatically you will like everything at the right level. Not too attached. Too much attachment to anything is not good, because material life is very temporary. Okay, nothing here is permanent. And if you become too attached to something, when you lose it, you become too depressed, too much. You can't take it. So that is why we have to understand the same thing. Arjuna was also in that situation now. He was too much attached on the material platform to all his family, his guru, I mean, not order, he was to his teacher, to his grandfather, and all the other relatives. He was materially attached. And that's what Krishna is saying. You should love their soul, not their body. And if you love their soul, you'll know that they are eternal and they're going to get better bodies. They're got old, diseased, old bodies, right? It gives you trouble and you're not feeling in the best of shape. And so in the war, if they are killed, they are going to get better bodies. So you should rejoice. So he was telling them, Krishna was telling Arjuna, love them as souls. I mean, there is some attachment because of material connection. It's my grandfather, it's my teacher, it's my cousin, it's my uncle. So there is some material connection, but you have to understand that they are also souls, eternal souls. They're not the bodies. Once you know that, then you'll really love them. Spiritually, if you love, no problem. You can love all the people you love in a spiritual way, and that will not come in the way. Only if you love them materially and think we are the bodies and only the bodies, then there is a problem. Even loving people, if you are fully aware that their connection with Krishna and you love them because you're attached, because they are, what is that, Siddhappa? So if you are connected like that, then you can love. The Pandavas were very attached to each other, right? As a family, always doing things together. But Krishna, they all loved Krishna the most, right? Arjuna, he loved his brothers so much, but once, all the brothers asked Krishna, Bhima asked Krishna, how come you so, we're all there, we all love you, Krishna, but you, especially you, why are you attached to Arjuna? So that time Arjuna was sleeping and he called him, come, just listen, go and put your head on his chest and hear. And what it's saying, and no, not in his heart. He was, even in his sleep, he was saying, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. So every breath, he was so much attached to Krishna. So, but at the same time, not only was he attached to his family members, he was very attached to his wife, Draupadi, and he didn't have one wife, he had 4 wives. So that is what. And that is all. He didn't have to say, I should reduce this love and increase that love. Nothing like that. He just loved Krishna and everything else happened very naturally. Is that okay?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, all good things will happen, even materially. If we just love Krishna more than anything else, everything will be fine. That is the secret. And Krishna is saying, that is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. If one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. So that is the what he's building up to this. The goal of life also is achieved when this when we get this spiritual and godly life, in which if one is thus situated, even at the hour of death, one can just enter into the kingdom of God. It's just like you leave this room and walk into another room, like that. You give up this body, immediately you enter the spiritual world. It's eternal. You don't have to take another birth. So actual life begins after the completion of this material life. For the gross materialist, it is sufficient to know that one has to end this materialistic way of life. But for persons who are spiritually advanced, there is another life after this materialistic life. Before ending this life, if one fortunately becomes Krishna conscious, he at once attains the stage of Brahma Nirvana. There is no difference between the kingdom of God and the devotional service of the Lord. So what this means is that if we start doing devotional service to Krishna, simple things, a part of our daily routine, then it is he at once attains the stage of Brahma Nirvana. Imagine, we can become liberated just by doing these small, devotional services. Gradually, we are uplifting our consciousness. So this is the method. The living, and this verse 71, the living entity cannot be desireless, Prabhupada is saying, or senseless, but he has to change the quality of his desires. Real desirelessness means not to desire anything for sense gratification, but to desire everything for the satisfaction of Krishna. Just like a mother and a child, okay? In the beginning, if you tell a young girl or who's just married and you tell her that, once you get a child, first of all, about the childbirth, that's one thing. After the child is born, you won't be able to sleep properly, eat properly, dress properly, go out properly. You can't take care of you all the time. You have to be looking after the baby. Then she's thinking, oh, I don't want a child. But she may say that in the beginning. But once she gets the child, then what happens? Because she feels so much love for the child, she's ready to do all that, isn't it? The same person, I knew a devotee boy. He used to hate children, and he thought they are big, nuisance. And and he said that, somebody said, if you want to prepare yourself for getting a child, you put a lot of stones inside a bag and you carry it and walk up and down like this. They were trying to give a very dismal picture of bringing up children. But any parent, when they get this small child, then they feel so happy. They love the child, so they're ready. They don't even think it's any big deal, and they'll get upset with others if they say, oh, this child is troubling you. No, it's not troubling me. They won't want anybody to say. So in the same way, initially we may think, oh, I have to do this for Krishna, that for Krishna, I should give up this. And no, but if you chant Hare Krishna and you develop some affection for Krishna, you think, oh, this is nothing. I can easily do this for Krishna. It's a question of developing a relationship. So that is why Krishna says, chant Hare Krishna. Okay, so we finished second chapter today. And are there any questions or comments? So in a nutshell, Krishna has told everything to Arjuna. How, I mean, then next, in tomorrow's class, Karma Yoga, which is, so third chapter is about Karma Yoga. So in detail, we'll see how to do Karma Yoga. We'll start step by step. You don't have to think of the final stage, what he's saying, and get scared. I can't do that. No, nobody can do. You have to go step by step. You have the whole life. So don't worry.
Hare
Okay.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yes.
Yeah. So as you said, our real life starts only after this material life ends. That's what, as per the spiritual sayings. So these commandments saying this don't give much importance for the existence in our present form, right?
Yes.
So therefore, to make the quality of this present life will not be justified, right?
No, you're saying if you improve the
Because
quality of life,
yeah, because that's why the present life, the present life, this material life, that is what it is mentioned here. So our real life begins in the spiritual life after the material life ends, like that. Can you clarify? This is what I understood actually. So
yes.
most of the stars are believing and performing the life superbly, in this present, they want to be like that also, is it not?
What in this present day?
The present life, actually, you are told that the material life, after ending the material life, the real life starts after that only, we have said, no?
That means after we give up this
Yeah.
body and we are liberated, then
Mhm.
we
Yeah,
gain
yeah, yeah.
eternal life. Yes.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what. So at that time, so we should not give much importance for this life, right?
Yeah. But you have
So
to take
that
care
means
of your body
the
also.
quality of living will be decayed, no?
No,
If
no,
you
no.
think like that, yeah.
No, no. See, it runs parallelly. We have to take care of our body's needs
Mm, mm,
also. And we also at
mm,
the same time have to progress in spiritual life. It goes parallelly.
mm,
But we should
mm.
not do anything in material life that will
Yeah,
obstruct
yeah. That's
spiritual
what.
life.
That's what.
That is all.
Mm. We should give importance for the present existence also. Without the
Yes.
existence, you are not there, no? In this present world.
Definitely, you should take. You can take material education. You can take up the job. You can get married. You can have children. You can have some, everything. In fact, later on, you'll see how Krishna says you should have yukta hara viharasya yukta cheshtasa karmasu. That means you should neither eat too much nor eat too little. You should not sleep too much, not too little. Or you
Mm,
should have a proper recreation also. Yukta
mm, mm,
swapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkaha. And this way you can mitigate all the
mm, mm,
miseries. So everything in proper this thing should be done.
mm. See, in this, I am just comparing with the spiritual way of life, actually. And
Uh-huh.
there will be almost, 3 to 4 days, there will be satsanga. And, almost in every weekend, there will be satsanga. And we cannot leave all those things, actually. So our way of life will be in this line only, completely during the younger, especially for the youngsters. So
See,
they may
there
not
is no
find much
force like
time
that.
also.
There is
Mm,
no force like that. It is like with
mm,
every step you're taking, you do
mm,
according to whatever gives you happiness.
mm,
Right? You take little of this and little of more, say, suppose you're doing more of material activities and you're taking
mm,
a little of spiritual things. Okay, now you're happy with this proportion. Continue like that. And as you're increasing the
mm.
taste for spiritual life, maybe you will want a little more of that.
No,
Isn't it?
spiritual organizations want more from us, actually.
See,
They are
ISKCON
not
is,
satisfied.
you know what?
Yeah.
ISKCON, it is difficult to stay on. Nobody is forcing you to come there. Nobody is saying that you have to stay. No, you can leave
Mm,
anytime you want. Nobody is forcing us. It is
mm.
more difficult to stay
No,
there.
it is not like living, actually. So when we are more indulging in these kinds of spiritual activities, we are
Hmm.
losing the proportion in the material life. That's what I mentioned here.
No, the quality of your material life will improve because the thing
Mm,
is, that's what Krishna is saying, that when you
mm,
become too attached to material, see, it will be in the right balance. When you
mm,
like
mm,
spirit, see, because you're seeing yourself as a holistic person and body and soul. Now, those who are
mm,
materialistic, they only see the body and they don't see the soul. That's why they have problems. That's what Krishna is saying. Understand you're the soul, but you have a body. So you
mm.
have to take care of your body also, but actually you're the soul. So the more that you understand that your spiritual needs increase, automatically you'll think, oh, I don't need so much for my body. And it's a fact. I mean, actually, we don't. But on the other hand, those who completely neglect spiritual life, you see, modern day, what has happened? As much they keep on having more and more of something, and still, they're not satisfied, and then they get bored also. And then it is the people who have too much, everything they have, and then they take to drugs because they don't know what else is there in life, isn't it? It is the rich people's children who are taking to
Yeah.
drugs.
Mm, mm, mm.
So that is why you should have a proper understanding that you are the soul also. Otherwise, you will go berserk. You'll think
Uh,
Yeah, especially as you're
Prabhuji,
saying.
can I add
yes.
what Mataji wanted to say, Prabhuji? Even I'm not so spiritual. Even I have a more material life and less spiritual life. But
Mm.
Mataji wants to say that if it is possible for you to spare half hour or 1 hour, like you are sparing for listening this lecture 1 hour, so that is the step towards spiritual life. So that is enough. Being a spiritual, having spiritual life doesn't mean that your material life will end. You can do job, you can play with your kids, you can have outings with your wife, you can have additionally you can, I should not say additionally, but this also, like we say professional work life balance, professional and personal should balance. Actually
Yes.
professional, personal and spiritual should balance. So Mataji
Mm.
wants to say we should balance both spiritual and material life. Nothing else she want to say. We can't
Yes.
live material because we are not so pure, and we are in this world, so we have to do everything. So that's
Yes.
what she
To
meant
have
to
a
say.
balanced life, you should know. Should also have, uh, yeah. That is why Utkarshni Mataji, this that's why she sums it up by asking you some quiz questions. Can you ask Utkarshni Mataji?
Ah, Hare Krishna, Mataji. Okay. In the beginning, Mataji was telling there are two kinds of mind, and little explanation regarding that. Can anyone give that?
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
It is our conscious mind and subconscious mind. Conscious mind is we are totally aware of what is happening. Then subconscious mind is the things with which we are attached from our past births. That is what I understood.
Okay, surrendering to the Lord Krishna means what? What we should have. And by that, we really get a lot of mercy. It's just a one word answer. Full faith. Yeah, we should have full faith. Surrender means full faith in Krishna, so that we'll get complete mercy from him. Which are the three miseries Mataji was mentioning? Three miseries.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Yes.
The three miseries, threefold miseries are Adhatika, Adi Bhautika, and Adi Devika.
Can you, do you know the
Yes, Mataji. Adhatika is miseries created by our physical and mental emotions. Adi Bhautika is like miseries created by other living beings surrounded by us, and Adi Devika is the miseries created by demigods, like nature calamities, droughts, floods, something like that. Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Adhyatmika is our own body. Do you interchange? No.
No,
Adhy-
Mataji.
Adhyatmika is our getting miseries from our own body.
Own body, yes.
Yeah. Adi Bhautik from other living entities. Yeah. Mataji, is it okay, Mataji?
Yes.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Now, there are two classes of intelligence men. Can you all say that about it?
Intelligence in materialistic life and intelligence in spiritual life.
Yeah. And few sentence about materialist and spiritual.
And what does Krishna say about them? I mean, like things which are very important for materialists is not considered. The spiritualist or introspective person does not like. So what is the comparison he gives between the two?
Material persons are what is night for all the material people, it's a time for awakening for sages, and what the time for awakening for other beings, it's very night for the sages. Is
Very
it
well.
Yes.
Hare
Sage.
Krishna.
So nice. Mataji, you explained about gross and subtle body. Should I ask or not?
I
Not much. You did tell about mind intelligence or not.
uh,
Is it fair to ask about that or not?
no, ask only what we did today.
That's what today about mind intelligence and all you spoke, no? Okay, Mataji, I will not ask that.
Which one?
No, it's okay. No, Mataji, okay.
No. If I covered that you ask.
Okay.
Transcendental intelligence, right? How do we get that?
Yes.
And you can be steady,
Yes,
isn't
ma'am.
it?
Yes,
But how can you have steady intelligence? Is that the question?
Yes, Mataji.
How can we have steady intelligence?
Chanting Hare Krishna,
Yeah,
surrendering
right?
to Krishna.
Yeah, chanting, and so we are connected with the Supreme. Yes. So then we can have peace and happiness also. Okay.
That's all, Mataji.
And why is it that we should control all the senses? Why can't we be, oh, I'm controlling this, so I can be a little liberal on this? Why not like that?
One sense can pull you down from the spiritual life to the material.
Huh? Pardon?
One, if we neglect one sense, it can pull us down from the
Ah,
spiritual life
yes.
to material.
Yes. Even one of the roaming senses can pull, just like the boat is, what is the comparison to that?
No, I think ocean and river comparison you gave.
Yeah. No, the boat in the water, it may be sailing very nicely, but then just if the wind comes, then water is swept away. So in the same way, even one of the roaming senses can completely sweep away the boat, like that, boat, mind.
You gave one more example of a Brahmin or a priest.
Oh.
If he does everything properly and if he intoxicates, that will bring him down. That will pull down his sadhana. Like that. That one example also you gave, Mataji.
Yes. Okay. And how should our consciousness be? What is the comparison to the rivers and the ocean? How can
Ocean
we control the
remains
mind?
calm. Ocean remains calm in spite of the many rivers flowing into it. So our mind has to be steady in spite of the tides of thought flowing. We have to know what to neglect and what to take.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, we stick to its boundary actually. It won't increase or decrease. Always it's maintaining the equanimity.
Yes. Mm. So what is the formula for peace? How can we become peaceful and happy?
We can become peaceful and happy by chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, surrendering to Krishna,
Yeah.
doing devotional activities.
Yes. And he says that is true. That is the process. But he's saying
We have
so
to
that
give up all the
desires for sense gratification and sense of proprietorship and false ego. This we have to give up. I mean, this is all like, proprietorship, of course, you are the owner, whatever you have. But some people become too attached, right? This is my house, this is my car, and they're overly attached. So we should give up. Okay, Krishna has given me, so I'm using it. I mean, we know that it's mercy, and so we don't get too attached to it. And so then you can be peaceful. Otherwise, some people, they get some nice You see, especially Audi or, they have Mercedes Benz and they will drive so slowly. They don't want to go close to any car because they don't want any scratch on it. And they're always conscious about that car, too much attachment. So we give up too much desire for sense gratification and sense of proprietorship and false ego. I'm this, I'm that, you know who I am? I got all these titles, so then that also doesn't give us peace of mind, because such people, they are always thinking about getting respect. You know what, uh, and then only when they're respected, they feel good. And if somebody doesn't respect, they feel very down. So when we are free from all that, then we can be always happy and peaceful. Right? Isn't that very practical? And we will be happy like that. I mean, it's very difficult. Otherwise, unnecessary things disturbs us or makes us too elated also. Okay. So was this a revision okay? Swati Mataji, is that okay? This is what we do with a quiz. Yes. Okay.
Swati Mataji, is this your first class?
Once earlier I've attended for a short period.
Oh,
This I've
Second
stayed
time.
for a longer time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, please do attend daily.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try to
I have
send.
sent a message. If you could reply to that, I'll be.
Yeah, in
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
If
Yeah,
you could
that's
give
what.
a gist of today's discourse at the end, it will be more effective. Okay. No, that is why we asked this quiz.
Questions,
Did that
no?
help you? Yeah, questions. Did that help you to revise?
I can
Yes,
send you the
yes.
recording also, Mata. Swati
No,
Mataji.
I mean, no, let her tell me. I don't mind again saying it in a nutshell, but
Yeah. Nutshell.
you want. Okay.
Yeah, that will sink the ideas deeper into our mind.
Okay. So today what we did that, because it's a continuation from yesterday, we were talking about how Krishna says how you fall down if you're contemplating on something, then you become attached to it, and then when you don't, then your lust increases for it, and then when you don't get it, you become very angry, and when you're angry, you become deluded, and your memory is lost, and then you intelligence also you lose, and then you do all crazy things, and then you fall down. So then after that, but a person free from all attachment and aversion and able to control his senses through regulative principles of freedom can obtain complete mercy of the Lord. So if we can, too much attachment and aversion, we can avoid that by, following the regulative principles. And then of freedom, actually they give us freedom from this sort of thing. Too much attachment and aversion by which we get too angry or we do all crazy things. So like that. For one thus satisfied in Krishna consciousness, the threefold miseries of material existence no longer exist because he's satisfied within by contacting Krishna. In such satisfied consciousness, one's intelligence is soon well established. So this is how, because this is called Buddhi Yoga. Intelligence is given by Krishna. So we connect with him and we have unlimited intelligence, right? He is unlimited. And that is why it's called Buddhi Yoga. And without connecting with Krishna, then we have all these difficulties. The senses and the mind, they keep pulling us in different directions. And Krishna says, one who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness, he cannot have transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? And then he says how the senses, I mean, to have peace, you must control all the senses. Otherwise, just like the strong wind can, pull away a boat, it can completely sink it. In the same way, even one of the roaming senses can pull us down. Therefore, he's saying, if those whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Unnecessary. whatever is required for, to maintain the body and to have some recreation also. Krishna says you must have recreation also. You must have enough sleep. You must have enough food. You must have everything, but just enough. And how can we be so self-controlled? Only by connecting with the Supreme. Then we get an inner satisfaction. Then we won't indulge too much in anything. And so that is why what is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. So we like all these regulative principles because it gives us happiness. And we want to be awakened spiritual realization. But those who are not awake to that, they think, oh, these people are torturing themselves. This is what they'll think. And so how do we react? Even we have so many desires coming, oh, I wish I could do this and that. And while the materialistic person wants to fulfill every one of his desires, we should understand that what is really required, that only I will take. I'm not going to fulfill every one of my desires. So how, and the comparison is made to how in an ocean, the rivers are constantly coming, but the ocean is calm. So we don't have to act on every desire that comes in our mind. And so a person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, was given, and then no sense of proprietorship, I'm the owner, and then feel too proud or attached about it, or no false ego, then only we can have peace. And that is the way of spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. So if we are just doing our daily, chanting and a few things, we just started chanting every day, but today we won't be able to do it, I think. But we have sent you the mantra, so please do every day. Continue now. In the class yesterday, we chanted, yesterday and day before we chanted 18 times. If you can increase it, make it 36. In the mornings, please chant the Panchatattva mantra 3 times and 36 times of Hare Krishna mantra. Tomorrow we will also do together. So that's it. So simple things which will increase our consciousness, and so that at the end of life, we think that I've led a wonderful life. I've fulfilled all my material desires also, and now I'm ready to have an eternal life with Krishna. So that's what Krishna wants to give us, so that you can lead a nice, fulfilled life in the material world, and then also be prepared to go back to him. He doesn't want to snatch off all our material things. Don't be afraid. Okay? Is that okay? Okay, stop now.
Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna, all devotees. As earlier said by Mataji, that regarding the shloka, there are many devotees from this group who are learning Gita shloka. If anyone is interested, can definitely inform me in the group, so I can put you all in the group, and we are memorizing one by one shlokas, which are very important in Bhagavad Gita. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namo ananta koti